Talk about it. It's in the background. They already know.
The Matrix, Resurrections. Godlike.
I don't like that.
You don't like that? It always has an R, right? Reloaded, Resurrection, Revolutions.
Yeah. But Resurrections is a apt title for this movie. All the characters are resurrected. Not all the plot lines, but some of the plot lines are resurrected.
So what did you think of it? Well, first of all, did you watch it in theaters or HBO Max?
I watched it HBO Max.
HBO Max, indoors. Okay.
So automatically, I don't like it. Okay. Not that I don't like it. It's just that I don't know how I feel about the at-home viewing experience. I still, if it's not in theaters, it's not a real movie. Maybe I'm just old. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it was The Matrix. It's like one of these movies you have to watch in theaters.
Right? I don't know.
You have to, like special effects and all that. You have to.
That was my first note. The first movie came out in 1999. This one came out in 2021, and I feel like the effects haven't gotten better. I feel like the effects in the first one were better.
That's one major gripe I have.
How 20 years later it can't look better?
Well, the first one, revolutionary.
That's what I'm saying.
Killed it. 99 just killed it. Right?
And it's the same people.
And then the sequel took it to the next level too, like with the clone fights and all
the
that.
twins, yeah, on the highway. And I still stand. I think Matrix.
They made a highway just to film the movie.
I think Matrix 2 is better than Matrix 1. I think it's one of the rare sequels that are better.
No, sir. I think it's a good sequel.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
it's a good. The first one was just mind blowing. It's like, and the third one even had good effects too. Like, remember when he punched him and the ripples in the face, and I used the Phantom camera. Yeah. Part 3.
I don't like it though. I don't like 3 at all. I don't even like thinking about 3.
I mean, they had to end it somehow. Yeah, I mean, it's the least popular one, but
I don't like the beginning. I don't like anything about 3.
It was one movie basically.
Yeah.
It's one movie, but they cut it into 2. Yeah, so it's one.
But I get it. They had to end it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the best. It was like Return of the Jedi.
Fine.
It wasn't the best, but it had to wrap it up.
So Resurrections.
Yeah. We pick up years later, decades later, right?
60 years, I think they said.
60 years. I wasn't paying to those details. Again, when you're not in theater, I don't pay close attention to those little details.
I can't control my brain. Like, I find random things.
Yeah. So it picks up, and basically we go through the knowledge that when he gets put back in the end of part 3, he gets put back into we don't know what happened to him. We think he died.
Yeah.
It turns out he was just put back into the Matrix because they're trying to figure him out, trying to figure his code out and all that. Mm-hmm. And since then, he's been plugged.
Well, we know that him and Trinity, because they have different kind of energy. Like, they have so much more energy. That's why they put him back in the Matrix, because their energy that they put out is like 10 times more than a regular human. That's
they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure it out, like what made him him. They're trying to, so they're having him dormant, but he's plugged into the Matrix, so they're trying to figure that shit out. Mm-hmm. And he's having deja vu of a history, of a background that he doesn't remember.
They put him back in the Matrix, and in the first movie, he's a hacker.
Yes.
As Tom, and they take him out. This time, when they put him back in, they make him a video game maker, and he made the Matrix 1, 2, and 3. So, like, that's how.
Yeah, it was super meta. I hate using that word, but it's
the only word, unless you want to make a new one.
That's the only word for it. They try to like break the fourth wall too, and like
too many times.
They even talk about Warner Brothers, and so I don't know. Like, I thought it was a joke at first. I was like, "Where's this going? Where's this going?"
I just think it says something about today, the fact that a movie can come out 20 years later and they have to dumb it down. I just feel like this is a dumbed down, watered down version of The Matrix.
It had possibilities in there.
I didn't hate it.
The concepts are still crazy in there if you really think about it.
I had a good time.
I know, I liked it. I'm not knocking. I'm saying it's not perfect. It's not as good as any of the other 3.
It's dumber. It's like I think they think that we're, as a people, dumber. I think they made it a rom-com, like not a rom-com, but a romantic.
Well, first of all, nothing really happened in the movie. If you really think about it, like,
what you mean?
The main arc of the movie was releasing Trinity, right?
Right.
First, getting to Neo.
The same exact thing that happened in 1 happened in.
But what happened in 1 was like, all right, from the beginning, he's a hacker, and then he wakes up in the world, and then he figures out he has powers and tries to figure it out. Learns kung fu. Like, he goes through a whole journey.
They get him out.
No, yeah, they get him out, but it was a whole
while
experience.
The other people are trying to keep him in.
Exactly.
In this movie, the same exact thing happens. They get him out while people are trying to keep him in.
Less happens.
And while he's out, they're like, "Oh no, we can't go back and get him. It's suicide. And then the same thing, we can't go back get Trinity. It's suicide. And he goes, no, I have to come back with me. So then in this movie, I have to come back with me. Saves her in a very similar way from the building and the roof and all that. It's the same movie. It's the same thing. The last time they went back to come get Morpheus, this time they came back to go get Trinity. Yeah. And then that's when he discovers that he has the one. And this time that's when we discover that they're both the one. Or she's also the one. Or whatever the fuck.
That bothered me the most, too.
That's what I'm saying. So
why does she have powers now?
In the first one. In the first, the first run of The Matrix is... It's about that. It's not about a love story between him and Trinity. That's like the B or C plot line.
He didn't even know her.
The A plot line is the fact that it's like a futuristic, whatever, dystopian future, 1999, hackers. That's what was happening. It was a bigger movie saying, it was like a smarter movie. Like it was deep. The Wachowski brothers were deep.
Oh, it's way deeper.
This is a dumbed down version where the main plot story is the love story between them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what I said. Like the whole thing is just a love story trying to release her. But that's the main part of the movie. Right,
we're agreeing, but you said nothing happens. I think everything that happens in one happens.
I don't mean like nothing happened as far as in comparison to the first one. I'm saying like a lot happened in the first one. It was a whole journey. It was, if you took it, the first thing, he's sitting down on the computer, right? And the last scene, he's fucking flying.
Same exact thing in this one. Literally, same exact thing.
Yeah.
Everything that happened in the first one happened in this one. It was just the arc or the structure or the main storyline that was in the first one. They dumbed it down for us. They made it, it's a love story. Oh, he comes back and he saves it. And here are the same plot lines for nostalgia. And the same exact things happen. And the same characters. And the girl's name is Bugs because follow the rabbit. And she has the rabbit tattoo. They did the same thing. But they made it 20 years later for a dumber audience. And then they made it way less intricate and way less deep and way less... not conspiracy theorists, but way less out there. They just made it very simple, palatable. Here's a love story involved in the Matrix. Here's a video game of the Matrix, so you still get... That's it. They just repackaged it for a dumber audience, and I think we've gotten dumber in 20 years. Not you and I,
No, I get it.
But the people who make movies... And then when I saw Lana Wachowski, I don't know if we're going to go here yet, I'm thinking it's one of their daughters.
No. They both transitioned.
No idea that happened.
You didn't know that?
I'm like, how dope is this? 20 years later, the daughter came and made the movie. Like
it's the Wachowski brothers, and then now it's the Wachowski sisters. But the brother,
only one of them did it.
Only one of them did it.
Yeah. Lana.
Lana. But yeah,
no idea. That was in my post. That shit I found out way later.
You found out way later.
Way later. I'm talking about when you hit me. I had no idea.
Well, because after they made The Matrix, they made like Speed Racer. That was the next one. They were still the brothers, and then. Somewhere in between there, and then they made what's the other one? Cloud Atlas.
Cloud Atlas.
That's when they started. I think I don't know the timeline, but
no, I read that like on the release thing of Cloud Atlas. That's when he started.
Yeah,
she started coming out.
Yeah, and I appreciate them for that. I think they're geniuses. I mean, the first Matrix is
genius.
Yeah,
that's what exactly.
No, what I'm saying. I appreciate that they didn't throw any of that stuff in there. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the transition like. They didn't make Neo gay or something like that.
I know what you mean.
They didn't compromise or anything. They did it her way.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like, it's hard to say. Like, it didn't suck. It wasn't
didn't
bad.
At all.
The bar was way too high at the end of the day. The bar was way too high.
See, I'm good at personally not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't bring any of the other Matrixes with me when I watch this one. I make it as a standalone because it's fucking 20 years later.
I mean,
and I didn't think it was the same Wachowski brother doing it.
Oh no!
So I went into it thinking like, it's the daughter doing it. All right, cool. She probably wasn't even alive.
You
when
can
it came
do
out.
that on certain. If it was like a straight reboot, then okay. Like,
what's the difference? What's that mean? A straight reboot?
This is a sequel. It takes all the prior movies into consideration and it continues the narrative. This one was that. A reboot is like completely omitting shit that happens before and then just relaunching it.
So like Total Recall.
That was a total remake.
So what's the difference between a remake, a reboot, and a what? What was this one?
A sequel.
Okay. It was a fourth sequel.
A reboot is like Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. Like the second Hulk.
Yes.
A reboot.
Yes.
Okay.
A remake is Halloween. There's so many shits, but This was a sequel. This is part 4.
Okay, fine.
Clearly.
Leave it at that.
It's part 4, clearly. And like when you have movies like who was that? I keep forgetting the name. Fall Guy, Free Guy.
Mm-hmm.
That was deeper. Deeper concepts than
this was.
Matrix.
That's what I'm saying. This was just really safe, really 2020. I think just because 20 years passed, I think 20 years is a good time to like, oh, we can do that again.
Yeah, Space Jam.
That's what I'm saying. Just because 20 years happened,
right, and take the narrative, take the story out of it, or whatever. Take all that out. The kung fu and the special effects were average at best. There was nothing in there revolutionary. Nothing.
It wasn't bad, right? It wasn't bad. That's the only expectation that I had.
No. They set the bar way too high.
That's what I'm saying. The only expectation, not for the movie.
Yeah, if you could take the story out, it'll still be a cool kung fu flick.
Y'all broke boundaries 20 years ago. And now after everything that happened
was because
I don't know.
The stunt coordinator for the first Matrix.
Wasn't it Mr. Anderson? Wasn't it that guy?
What? The stunt coordinator, the guy who made all the fights. He became a director. He directed John Wick.
Oh, that's that guy?
That's that guy. Was he involved in this?
I don't think so. It doesn't look like it.
You could easily tell. Like, granted they're older. Neil's like almost 60. So I don't expect him to be. I rewatched the first 3 though. The kung fu scenes are crazy.
He gave me De Niro vibes in the last movie where he couldn't even lift his leg up to sidewalk stomp a guy.
Oh, the Irishman?
He gave me De Niro in the Irishman vibes. Like he couldn't fight at all.
Yeah. But
John Wick, and now I see why there's so much gunplay in John Wick.
Yeah.
Because he's not really karate chopping like he used to.
I mean, granted, like they could have used that against him because he's so advanced in kung fu that he doesn't even have to do much. Like
but they made him that he couldn't fight.
Yeah, they made him like
a little bit because he said, "I still know kung fu."
I still know kung fu, but
that line didn't hit like it. The line didn't really hit because he didn't really know kung fu.
By the time it got to Trinity on the motorcycle and he's riding on the back holding on,
yeah.
I like no, fuck it, like that shit.
I get it. For some reason, they made Trinity the one.
Well, they made both of them though because they were both flying at the end, but
right, and he had to find it through her. I guess it was so they tied in the powers into the love story, which is the only part I didn't like. Because we've only been talking negative. I fuck with the nostalgia. I fuck how they brought things back and the connections they made. I fuck how they flipped it.
What do you think about Larry Fishburne?
I was gonna say Morpheus. How Morpheus was I like that guy. That guy had a good little run. He's Candyman.
He's Candyman. Oh yeah,
that guy's Candyman. That guy. He has like a good Morpheus presence.
Did you like the flamboyantness? Did you appreciate?
Morpheus was flamboyant though.
I get it.
It was just 20 years ago flamboyance. He hit him with the shades with no sides. He hit him with the long leather. He hit him with the open.
I don't know. And he had the martini every scene. Like I get it. He was freed. He was an agent at this point for some reason.
He was an agent and then flipped at the end.
And then he flipped at the end and then he became and he was super like I would have bought it if it was like Wesley Snipes in there. If they brought
I don't want Wesley because I want a young guy.
But it didn't make sense for it to be a young guy. What was the point of having Morpheus? Like, I didn't understand that part.
I feel like if they would have I feel like that's kind of stepping on Larry Fishburne. If they put somebody like an old established person in there, that feels like you're trying to replace him. This guy is like, all right, Larry's is Larry's thing. Let's put him as far away from Morpheus as that Larry's Morpheus. Let's make him a fucking agent.
What I don't get, like, I don't know what happens behind the scenes, and it sucks that sometimes the movies suffer because of shit happens behind the scenes.
Yeah, facts.
Was it like he's not coming back because he's too old and fat, or he's not?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe negotiations. Maybe he wanted input.
And so they reworked the story for the younger Morpheus. Like I don't,
because it sounds like it was not sounds, but it feels like it was something that wasn't their intention. Like they had to work with that. They had to add that in.
Yeah, I guess. Like for years they couldn't get Bill Murray back in Ghostbusters, so they didn't do it because they couldn't get him back. They didn't do it because he was so pivotal into the thing. And to me, The Matrix is them 3.
Yeah, I would have liked Morpheus. I don't know. Maybe he'll come out later why he didn't do it.
What'd you think of Doogie Howser?
I always like
Doogie.
I like Neil Patrick Harris, MPH from How I Met Your Mother.
Okay. Barney
always gets me. It was a little too much Neil Patrick Harris, but the other guy is like Neil Patrick Harris,
the agent.
Yeah, he's Neil Patrick Harris too. He's in what's the Lin-Manuel Hamilton? He's in Hamilton.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Yeah. He's a singer. He's in Hamilton. He's in a bunch of other shit.
But Hugo Weaving is like iconic too. Like, but he is old now. Like he he couldn't do that. I don't think he could do that.
But that's what I'm saying. What's old? De Niro's 106, and he played somebody who's 20. The Matrix is the Matrix. Like they're futuristic.
They could have done special effects to that next level, right?
They put 100 of him on the street fighting Neo. They can't make him 10 years younger. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my only real letdown. Not that they made it a love story. I figured out that I understand why they had to do it. I think the population, I think the people are dumber as people.
Yeah,
you can't make a meta movie. Not meta. You can't make a forward thinking, like a very deep movie like that. Those don't really get made. My only letdown that I was like, what the fuck was that? The CGI. How is it better 20 years ago? I just don't understand. Did they not want to spend the money on that?
They invented stuff 20 years ago. That's like the same argument you made about Star Wars. Like the first Star Wars, like they were using puppets and shit.
Right.
And then the sequel trilogy is all CGI, and it didn't. I mean, by now standards, it doesn't look good, but it was a step forward, a leap forward.
In 2003, they were fire. They were better than the 70s.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah,
they had Sam Jackson in it, but they were fire.
But this one had like nothing. Like there was not one scene that was like, oh shit. When he first dodged the bullets in '99,
Bullet Time.
Yeah,
Bullet Time won awards.
That shit ran around. The camera was panning around the whole thing, like
bro. But the stopping, the freezing in the air, with the Trinity shit, like all those shots.
Yeah,
correct. The backflip with the shit into the thing.
Everybody was copying the time. Remember Shrek?
Before he flew. Yeah, it was huge. It was a cultural moment.
Everything.
Not expecting you to make that new breakthrough, but at least they didn't use any of that stuff again.
Yeah, there was nothing.
So that's my only gripe with this movie. I understand everything else. That I don't understand. I need to be made to understand why they dumb it down, why they do this. Some of the choices they made are their choices. You can't really shit on someone's choices. You can shit on them not making the choice, but they made a choice. This I don't understand.
What do you think of Jada Pinkett Smith?
I had to see her twice. She looks so old. She ate 60. So if she was in her 30s, 60, she'd be 90-ish, I guess. But she looked like she 1,000. I don't know why she looks so old.
But why is she's the leader now?
I guess she was the only one of that crew that we can remember.
The only one left?
Yeah, that would make sense. Dr. Colonel West was his name. I don't know if he's around really to do it.
But what do you call it? Like, or was it just like taking over? Now they're working with machines. They're making strawberries. Like there was a bunch of shit in there that was like.
I think they're just trying to show 60 years time pass, and like IO is like Zion without the Z in the end. It's just IO. That's what they called it. IO. It took me to the end of the movie to realize, it's Zion. It's just IO. But now they're with the robots and they're somewhere else, and I don't know if there's sun, but there's gardens now. It's just in 60 years we learned how to do this. I think that's what they try to show.
They're living with the machines in peace, basically. Not peace, but like they're using them.
She said, so that it was another tie back to the 3. So what we thought happened in 3, where he tried to destroy all the machines or whatever the fuck it was, or become one, or whatever it was that he was trying to do in 3 that we thought he died, that sparked something. That's what she said. Because of what you did, some of the machines machined into being good or being helpful because they were touched by Neo or whatever the fuck it was. That was her spiel. And they helped us figure this shit out.
I hope there's a sequel.
I think there's going to be. Or I think they planned it to be. They left it open-ended.
Yeah, if this is part 1, because it does leave it open to continuation. But I hope it gets made. Because this one I hear is bombing. So like hopefully they still.
Yeah, I mean, what else are they going to do?
I don't know. When they touch these things that are like so crazy. That's why Star Wars failed. Like they just couldn't match it. There was nothing introduced in there that was, I don't know. So what do you rate this movie?
I don't want to say C+.
Where do you hold the first Matrix?
I think the first Matrix is a B+.
Okay.
And the second Matrix is an A.
Wow.
A-.
Okay.
I think
I've reversed that, but
I know. I had more fun with the second one. Remember, I was 13. Like I had way more fun.
I get it. The first one was crazy. It came out the same year as like Star Wars 1 too. Like that was 99. That was a big year. 99.
Star Wars 4.
4. Oh,
but,
no, it was
no 1. Yeah, sorry. But Star Wars chronologically before episode 1.
Yeah.
99 was a big year. I think
and that thing just shitted on everything, like the special effects. They were in the white rooms and then the guns just popped, like just simple effects now, like none there was none of that shit.
Nothing.
My man,
yeah, what do you get?
Larry came out with the crocodile suit and like
son. That's what I'm saying. So see, that's flamboyant as fuck.
No, I
for
get
99.
it. I get it.
So they had to extrapolate that. That they did. They didn't extrapolate the visual effects. They didn't extrapolate that.
Larry's cool though.
All right, but that's not this guy's fault. This guy's cool now.
It just seemed like he's doing an impression of.
He tried to summon the same aura. He tried to give off the same vibe.
Yes.
He was not given though.
Yeah, but he wasn't even in IO Zion. Like he was a machine, like clearly a machine. Like that shit didn't make no sense.
I didn't like that part.
Yeah, like,
they should have got him out.
He couldn't.
They should have figured a way.
He was a machine. Like
I know he had to do those little balls. He had to be like a chronomatic, whatever the fuck it was. They should have figured out a way to say that he got destroyed and the new version of him was just 20.
That happened in what do you call it? Between part 2 and 3, the lady died, the Oracle.
Yeah, there's a new Oracle.
So they replaced her, and then like it just took like 2 seconds. He's like, "You look different." He's like, "I come in many forms."
Done.
Something like that. Boom. That's it.
2 lines.
Yeah,
should have called you.
I come in many forms. That's it. So I don't know. So what do you give it? What do you rate it?
I'm gonna give it a soft C+ for now. I watched it once. I didn't watch it in theaters. I feel like if I would have seen it in theaters, maybe some of the effects would have been different. And maybe I'll give it a B-. But I'm gonna stay at C+ because I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. B-, not C+. I'll stay strong C+.
I mean, I like seeing the character still. Like Neo's still that guy, Keanu Reeves, whatever. But it just didn't hit as good as the first couple movies.
Not even close.
Not even the game. Like the game was even better. It was. I give it a C.
Oh, good. And I give it a C+. That's so I'm right.
Yeah,
I'm about right.
There's nothing wrong. It's like
they were
constrained. Like at the end of the day, in my opinion, the bar was way too high.
Yes,
there's nothing like that. That you can't do anything unless you take it to another level. Like,
and society is way different.
Yeah,
I don't think 20 years later. I don't think this.
But it is possible. Like James Cameron, like didn't make a movie for like 12 years, and then he hit us with Avatar, and which she was like crazy.
Yeah, but still,
and the new Avatar is like 11 years later. That shit better be amazing. Like that shit better be some shit we never seen before. That's what I'm saying. And I think he's gonna do it. I think
we'll see.
But I think it suffers from the same shit.
I think if he drops Avatar and it's a visual masterpiece like the first Avatar was, I think this drops more points.
Yeah.
But if it comes out and it's like, oh, it's kind of the same shit, then I'll give this more points.
But I'll give it because it sounds like they're listening to people. Like they don't listen to people. Like there was references like, oh, why are they doing a Matrix now? Like they talk about it in the movie, and it seems that's what
that adds to the meta of it.
Yeah. So if they listen to the people, because the people are saying the real same shit, like graphics aren't like crazy, and then number 2 comes out, and they do it like for real. I think it has potential because it's set up pretty decent.
Bro, 2 with the chick.
There's also no conflict though. What is like the first one is like, there's a war. There's a war between the man and machines and all that, and they freed Neo. Neo at the end he had the powers. I was like, oh, shit's gonna be real. And then the sequel is like, all right, you go to Zion, you see the war, you see all that shit, and then by the third one it's like what's gonna happen to stop the war. Like this one didn't set up any big conflict. It was just like Trinity and them just come at the end to Doogie Howser and be like,
but that was the conflict, was freeing him.
That's
what
I'm saying. Like nothing, like the whole overall
and
arc.
Then now the line at the end where some people are like, "Oh, the sheeple don't want to be freed, so they're gonna come back and free the people."
Yeah, and it could have gotten so much, like the people in the phones. Like it made there's so much potential in there. So
I think, but so
hopefully they address it.
You know how I felt about I don't know if we talked about Dune. That's how I felt about Dune until I found out they're planning on making 3. So they didn't cut this in half. They cut Dune at a third.
Mm-hmm.
That changed how I graded the movie. Because if I read the books and I know Dune, and I'm thinking, why the fuck are they wasting all this time?
Shit is coming.
Yeah. Right? And they cut it there. I was pissed. They plan already on making 3. This is just the first third. So I feel like if this is just the first hit, if they're planning on making another 2 or 3,
if it does come
this
out.
was the tease, and then they're going to hit us with it.
The only 2 times that shit worked was like when Star Wars came out, because George Lucas, he made the first one as a standalone movie.
Right.
And then he got the sequels because the first one was a hit, and then he wrote the sequels that was even better than the first one.
Right. Because he's good.
Because he's that good. James Cameron with Terminator.
Same.
There was no plan to make a second one, and then he did it. Those are only 2 times that really like sequels are like crazier than the first ones.
Yeah.
this could have been it, but not yet.